Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time to do the fourth week of August. We're going to look from Saturday to Sunday. And last week we had the new moon in Leo. We had Mars trine Uranus. The new moon in Leo was square Uranus and trine Eris and conjunct Black Moon Lilith. So change and protest and the rising up of the people, if not the people, the people's voice, um, people in power being held accountable. It was quite the week. And this week, of course, is going to be quite the week as well. We do have a shift of energy with the sun moving out of Leo, which is very powerful, and moving into Virgo. And on the same day that happens, the Mercury, which is in Virgo and has been moving very, very, very slowly through Virgo, stations retrograde on the same day that the sun goes into Virgo. So there's a real sort of look at what's looking at the details and going over them very slowly and checking and double checking. Details matter now and facts matter now, and we'll see some of that this coming week. There is an opposition to this week with Mars in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces. So we have an opposition between Mars and Neptune. Actions taken don't have the same impact because of the Neptune influence. So it's going to be another interesting week, folks. So why don't we just get started and get right into the week? So let me share my screen with you. Let's make sure I'm in the right file here. All right, so let me just click on to the day we're going to start with, week 4, and let's make this a slideshow so we can all see it real nice and big. Okay. All right, so we start with Sunday, the 20th of August. We have the sun making an exacting conjunct to Neptune. The sun is at 28 degrees of Leo. Neptune is at 28 degrees of Pisces. Now, that 28th degree was the degree that, right around the degree, 29 degrees actually, for Venus stationing retrograde. So, and that degree is connected to the eclipse that occurred back in 2017, the one that went across the country. We have another eclipse coming that's also going to go across the country. But the eclipse in 2017 went from like Oregon and went this way and down, I think, through Tennessee and Georgia and that direction. And the next one is going this way. So it's making a giant cross. X marks the spot, as it were. But this particular degree, this 29th degree of Leo, is a degree that activates that. On the 21st, the sun in conjunct Pluto, that's the same sun, that just in conjunct Neptune, which means that the sun in Leo at 28 degrees of Leo is in a Yode between Pluto and Neptune. And that 28th degree is a powerful degree because that's where Venus went retrograde. And Venus was in this Yode. And when Venus leaves, when Venus goes direct and then comes out of the shadow of her retrograde at the beginning of October, she's going to have 3 more Yodes she's going to have a Yode, I think, for 3 days at that time. So there is a shifting power, and we're all going to need to be our best selves through it. Okay. That covers at 29 degrees of Leo, the next degree of Leo. We're going to look at all these degrees, so we'll see what it says about those degrees. And then on Tuesday, the 22nd, we have Venus making a first quarter square to Jupiter. Now, this is the second of 3 first quarter squares. Why is that? Because Venus is retrograde. Venus had the first one, I believe it was July 2nd, or right around there. And this one, and then we're going to have another one once Venus goes direct and gets into square again with Jupiter. Now, Venus and Jupiter are the two benefics. It can be an expansion of all things that are good. It can work as a healing balm. And it vibrates to a 37.1 vibration, which is that's the shadow of Trump. But it's also symbolically, and in the tarot, the the King of Cups, which of course Biden is always seen as the King of Cups, right? And this particular degree of Leo is on Biden's Chiron. So we're going to see what happens with that as well, right? I'm not going to necessarily look at that today because that's something different. This is to look at the astrology of the week, not specifically for Joe Biden. And that's kind of what it would take. It would take like an official look at the chart to get the right information. Okay, and then on the 22nd as well, we have Mars opposing Neptune. I said that Mars would oppose Neptune. Now, Mars cycles are always 2 years long. Mars opposed Neptune, so the conjunction occurred last year. And now we're at the halfway point. And we'll look at the degrees of the initial conjunction, and we'll look at the oppositional degrees as well. On the 23rd, Wednesday, we have the sun's ingress into Virgo, as I said. And on the same day, Mercury stations retrograde in Virgo, and will be retrograde until September 15th. And then it'll go direct, and then it has to go out of its shadow, and then things get started again completely, fully with Mercury. And then probably we're looking at October, November. And then on Thursday, the 24th, we have a trine from Mars to Pluto. If you remember, we last week we had a trine from Mars to Uranus, and that is change. That is progressive change. And this trine of Mars to Pluto, Pluto in Capricorn is less progressive, is more power, is dominance and power over. So we could see some. We could see a battle between those who want progress and those who want to hold on all the power. That's what we're going to see. And we'll see that in what happens with, I think this coming week, all the people indicted in Georgia, indicted just like the day before the new moon. We knew it was going to happen. It was right after Venus had her meeting in the heart of the sun with the sun, and coming out of that, she's rising up now from the underworld, although we still can't see her, but we can feel her. So we can feel there's been a shift. We can feel there's been a change, and it feels like there's a pressing on the brakes to the energy of complete and utter chaos. But we still have to see the value in the chaos that came. We still have to learn from it. We still have to understand it. We need to look around and see You know, like in Hawaii where there's so much loss. Um, the loss is the loss, and you have to build from that point. But you need to know what's important, and you kind of need to know what's got you in that place to begin with. And a lot has to do in Hawaii with the colonization of the state, um, the monocultures, and then the development of the land, and you know the displacement of the Native Hawaiians. Um, it all, you know, it all sort of leads up to this place where we have to remember that while many people think they have dominion over the planet makes the rules, and the planet has something to say and is saying it very loudly, and we have to start listening. And we may not have the ears to hear it, but the indigenous do. That's part of the Green New Deal, folks. That's in the Green New Deal. Yeah. All right. But then Mars trine Pluto, you know, Capricorn is a feminine sign, and it's the earth. It's an earthly sign. It's the mountains. It's the vastness. It's the structure and the energy and the power of the planet. Trine Mars in Virgo. Mars in Virgo is like a surgeon when it comes to excising that which is not working, right? Making an adjustment, moving things just a little bit, not a lot. We don't have to take a hammer to everything, guys. And I think the Yode to the sun is gonna do some of that too. So we'll take a look at all of that. In the center here we have the tree of life. The sun conjunct Neptune. I mean, the sun in conjunct Neptune. Neptune is up here on the tree of life. The sun is here. We have the Pisces vibration, the Leo vibration. This particular path gets activated when those two signs are getting activated in such a way by the sun, which is the life giver, and Neptune, which is spirit. It's the most ethereal, right, of the planets. And this shifting can be very delicate with Neptune. With Pluto, on the other hand, it can be a little bit more strident, right? It's a different energy. So that vibration 35-8 on Sunday is the Nine of Wands. Excuse me, Monday the 21st, when we have the sun in conjunct Pluto. We're in a 36-9 vibration. That's this vibration. So these cards have a vibrational resonance with what's going on as well. So you could read it that way as well. Okay. On the 22nd, we have Venus square Jupiter. I said that can be all good things, more of all good things, right? Venus is retrograde, you know, so we have to take that into consideration. That it has to really matter, like the things that really matter come to you, you know. And then Mars opposite Neptune is happening on a 37-1. Now, I did say this vibration, and this is the King of Cups. This vibration was connected to Trump's shadow. This is located in the third eye. So here, head stuff, you know. And I would think he was under a lot of stress. Hard to say, you know, if he really thinks, like, if he thinks he's above the law, then this isn't going to bother him one bit. It's all the people around him that get driven crazy, right? You got to do this for me, you got to do that for me, and then they do it, and then he doesn't listen to them anyway. So I don't know. It's crazy town. Wednesday, the vibration when the sun ingresses into Virgo. You know, let's get the job done. Sun in Virgo. We have the Queen of Cups, lovely vibration. The Queen of Cups is the what day is that? That's the 23rd. The Queen of Cups is a Scorpio vibration, and water sign woman, which could be Chunkin, it could be Fonnie Willis. They're both water sign women, in positions of, power right now, and an expression of what is right and what is true and what is fair. I can't think of, two more apt people to be doing what they're doing at this time against who they're doing it to, or doing it to, doing because it's their job, not because they necessarily picked him. He kind of picks them. Oh God. And then on when Mars trines Pluto, we have the 39/3, which is associated with the heart chakra, Tipureth, and the Knight of Cups, messages coming of good tidings and healing and love, and so that's a possibility as well. Okay, let's take a look at these separately. I know this is going to be a long one. I guess I have a lot to say. So this is the Sunday. This is Sunday. This is the waxing in conjunct between the. Did I say Sunday? It's Sunday. Yeah, the 20th is Sunday, right? Does it say Sunday? I should know. Yeah, Sunday. That's my godson's birthday. He's going to be 43 this year. Oh, he just had his Uranus opposition. I should give him a call. See how he did. Hi, Joe. I love you. He's such a good kid. Well, he's not a kid. He's a man. He's a good man. But he was a kid once. Oh, those are the days. All right. So we have this in conjunct. This is for the US, the United States here. This is actually the ascendant here, the 2023, 24 is right around the Mercury of the United States, and right around Jupiter, Joe Biden's Jupiter. So these are the two energies being activated. Okay, so we keep an eye on that. And then the next day we have an in conjunct as well to the sun, but only this time exactly from Pluto, because Pluto and Neptune are sextile each other pretty closely right now, close as they've been, I think, in a long time. And it's a powerful sextile, and anything that gets in the sort of crosshairs of this 28, 29 degree, 27, 28, 29 degrees of Leo, any planet that goes through that is getting yoded, I guess we could say, or outed, or by these two transpersonal planets. And Neptune is very powerful in Pisces. It's the sign that Neptune has rulership over. And so, that's a lot of water. It's a lot of water. And then we have Pluto in Capricorn. Sorry. Capricorn is connected to like mountain ranges, like things that'll stand the test of time. But Pluto is transformation. It's volcanic. It's not incidental that through this Saturn in not Saturn, Uranus in Taurus energy, that as soon as Uranus went into Taurus, Kilauea started to explode, erupt. A lot of people like lost their homes because there was like the mountain, it's like lava flow. And of course they lived in places where there was always that chance, so it wasn't like it was like a complete surprise. But it's also like the growing lands, like a new continent was forming, right? And that's apropos because one of the Sabian symbols that have been getting activated over the last few years is that 19th degree of Taurus, a new continent rising out of the sea. It we'll see it in this week as well. We'll see that come up in this week. So it's just very interesting with these two transformational energies. And then we have the sun, and the sun is the life giver. And we've had a very high, the sun has been, well, it's been very hot, right? But it's been getting a lot of coronal mass ejections and things going towards the earth, and it's an active sun period. So this is a time of like big evolutionary shifts and transformations. These are big energies. And it's got to change. It's got to change, but it's going to change. And what helps us to see how the change is going to happen is if we can focus through Leo. This is the message. Focus through your heart. Look through the eyes of the heart. See through the eyes of love. See what needs to be loved. See what needs to be created in love for, who do you love? Who's the most important person in your life, right? You might say, it's my child. It's my mother. It's my father. It's my mate. It's my golden retriever. It's whatever. And what the feeling that you have when you want to give to that person or give to that animal or give to, is what we need to pour out into the world, because that's going to move us in the right direction. That's going to move us in the direction of love and taking care of each other and stopping all this silly fighting. I mean, it's insane. I mean, it's literally insane. All right, let's continue. So there's a Yode. Now, this first, and what I have here is I have the chart of the first chart we showed you from the 20th, where we had the exact in conjunct from Neptune to the sun. But then we also have Pluto over here, which becomes exact the next day, and it creates this Yode. And this Yode is in the case of the United States. And you can do this wherever it is in your chart, right? Wherever this 28 degrees of Leo falls in your chart. This is where the finger of God is getting pointed and saying, where are you going to share your gifts? How are you going to share your gifts, your light, the sun, your life-giving light, the sun, in order to progress these transpersonal planets, creating the sextile energies like an engine that puts all its energy and potency in the sun. But the sun needs, it's almost like we have to like get out of our own ego way here and let our souls do the shining here. Like just step away, or just hold, like not step away so much as hold the space for what needs to come through with faith that it's exactly what it needs to be, and allow it to come through with as little resistance as you can, because you can't really resist. The resistance is futile. Progress is progress. And a lot of the constructs of fear and I need more guns and I need this and I need that and I need to protect myself and I need, is really just the ego afraid to surrender to the soul. And we are having Pluto is square the nodes, and we have to surrender to the soul. We have to reunite with our higher self and allow, because if we don't do that, we don't have the juice. We won't be plugged in the right way to see the change happen and to manifest the change. So I actually got this little thing about the sun apex planet. I mean, the sun as the apex planet for the Yode. I actually Googled to see what I could see if anybody like specifically talks about this, mainly because the book that I have that I love, it's Aspect Dynamics by Bill Tierney. I didn't have it in I didn't have it in this room. I would have had to go all the way down to my office to get it. I was lazy. So because it's a fabulous book. It's like my favorite book when it comes to the aspects. Excuse me. So I got this off Milk Astrology. It says the sun as apex planet in the Yode. Now, remember, this is something that's happening right now. Now, if your sun happens to be at this degree, or you have a planet at this degree, or like myself, you have the North Node at this degree, in my first house, as I read this, my gift would be me. You get me. Oh, this is me shining my light. And that's all that's what I have to give. That's what I'm being asked to do. And so where it falls in your chart, or if you have a planet. Now, some of you I know have Pluto there, right? People born in like maybe 56. Is it 54? 54 is at like 24. So 54, 55, 56, 57, you know, that time your Pluto is at that degree. People born in 1980, my godson actually has the North Node in the North Node could be in that degree. So yeah, it's a powerful time. So let me read this to you. So I got off the thing a little bit. The jovial and wildly vivacious Yode person. They seek to step out of the murky shadows of life's alleyways and carve out a path for themselves that others may find themselves running to follow after. Leo is all about leadership. They must learn to sacrifice the self-preservation of their own identity and reputation to flourish. If they lose sight of the greater good and allow vanity to fog their perception, they will only fall down and karma will again rebirth them to fix the error of this life. They must learn to stand up for others and fight for the good fight in order to reach their full potential and break the curse of their ancestors' past lives and ways. This is powerful, powerful energy. Now, we just had a fire in Maui. God bless them. God bless the souls and their families, and they deserve all the love and light that we can muster, just like those in Ukraine or anywhere else where they're suffering. Africa, pick a continent. Burma, pick something. Pick something. There's a lot of this wanting to control, and karma will get you. You know, 2024 is an 8 vibration. 8 is the number of karma. And so karma's going to get you. Better get yourself together, or you'll be through. Is that how that goes? Oh my God. So this is, this is an ask, but this is a necessary ask. We got to get ourselves aligned with ourselves at our highest vibrational ability that we can get, with the most balance and the most compassion and the most love we can muster. The shift is hitting the fan, folks. Okay, next on Tuesday, the 21st, we have Venus make a first quarter square at, let's see, what is, I can't actually read it. I have something in front of me. 16 Leo. This is the day of the King of Cups, the vibration of the King of Cups. So this is the second of 3. The first was on, June 11th. See, I was wrong about July. The first was on June 11th. That vibrated to a 24/6. That's the Queen of Wands. We love her. At 6 degrees of Leo Taurus. And now we have this one, which is at 16 degrees of Leo Taurus. And then the last one will be occurring on the 17th of September. Now that's interesting because that's like exactly 2 months from when the node shifted. And that vibration is 33-6, which is the Seven of Wands, holding the higher ground, right? Defending your position. Leo, it's Leo energy. You know, it's having the moral high ground, seeing them coming, having a better, broader, higher perspective. And that occurs at 16 of Leo, Taurus. So the last two squares are happening at the same degrees. The initial conjunction, right? Because there's a starting point to all these cycles, and that's when Venus and Jupiter conjoin, and that happens on the 2nd of March of this year. Again at on the 2nd, which vibrates to 24-6, the same vibration as the first square. An unexploded bomb reveals an unsuccessful social protest. The immature evaluation of the possibility of transforming suddenly the status quo. The unexploded bomb could be considered to be the January 6th insurrection, the try to overtake the government. Now, that was only one part of it because there was all this election stuff that they were planning for way before he lost. He assumed he was going to lose. He probably he probably looked around, or the people around him said, hey, look, you haven't really done much. And this COVID thing is killing you. So you're probably going to lose. And then he probably just said, all right, well, let's plan. As a businessman, let's plan for to battle that. It doesn't matter that we're lying. We're creating our own reality here. Don't you know? That's what we do. We manifest our own reality here. But there's the rule of karma and the rule of law, and there's only so far, and there's cosmic justice. So you can't continuously take. You have to pay eventually. And you know, Trump is going to pay one way or another. And all the people who thought that they were on the train to, I don't know, great power are gonna realize that there's another side to that. Tony Willis's path of life is the Ace of Swords, guys. All right. So now Venus is at 16, and it says, you can't make this shit up, man. The storm ended. All nature rejoices in brilliant sunshine. Oh, sounds so good, doesn't it? The surge of life and love after a major crisis. Square. The joy and power of new beginnings. How about that? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Square Jupiter at 16 in Taurus. An old teacher fails to interest his pupils in traditional knowledge. The inadequacy of past knowledge in a time of crisis. Creative frustration. We can't go back. We can't do it the way we did it. It got us to this point, and this is not a good place to be. So, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it different? We're going to get into our hearts. We're going to feel the feelings. We're going to realize how we got here and how not to do it again. And it's not going to be because we ignore history. It's because we see and we take responsibility for where we're at. We're here right now, all of us, to take the responsibility for the moment we're in and do something different with it if we don't like what we're seeing. We have free will, so you can choose to go in towards the light, towards greater integration and greater life, or you can go towards the darkness, which is about ignorance and closing your eyes and not seeing and refusing to wake up, anti-woke. We don't want to wake up from this dream. Why? Okay. Oops. Oh, I'm trying to move it forward. Okay, let's try that. Nope, that's not it. Okay, here we go. Tuesday, the 22nd of August, Mars opposing Neptune. In this chart, this is for the Washington. Interesting, Neptune in the third house. Third house is the house of media. Mars in the ninth house, the house of law, and faraway places. I had the thought that while I was doing this, for some reason I mentioned Ukraine and it came to my mind, and I got a sense that we're like spending a lot of money or sending a lot of whatever. I guess we're spending it. Who knows? We create it? Is it really spending? We're putting our energy, we're putting our treasure, all right, I guess, if that's what it is, into the Ukraine to help people. And they need the help and they deserve the help. But we have to make sure that we're giving them enough help and the right kind of help to stop their suffering. Sometimes, people get chosen to like be the sacrificial lambs, and I think the Ukrainians are tired of that. And I think it's time that and wherever we go, wherever that takes us, a combination of maybe more of something that they may need, with a combination of talking to the other side and trying to come up with some sort of agreement. I think it can't just be one way, that came to me. So as that came to me, like I was thinking about this opposition. So we can take a look at that maybe, right? We can take a look at that. So Mars is in Virgo. Now, actually, I have this over here. This is wrong. This should be up here. This Virgo symbol should be right up here. I have it in the wrong spot because it's Mars. It's not Mercury. And here's Neptune. Neptune's up here. And so oppositions are always points of awareness. It's also the fruition of a seed planted at the initial inception point of this cycle. The initial inception point of this cycle began on the 18th of May back in 2022, because we're dealing with Mars. It's always a 2-year cycle. Religious organization succeeds in overcoming the corrupting influence of perverted practices and materialized ideals. Yikaroons. Yikaroons. We may hear something about the Pope and the Catholic Church with this opposition. He's kind of been quiet. He kind of reminds me of the King of Cups, actually, the Pope. I grew up Catholic, and I had no real affection for the Pope per se. I had perfection for Mary and for Jesus, and God I didn't really like have a sense of, because he always seemed too aloof, in that it was, Jesus was there and Mary especially, as a Catholic growing up. And what was my point? But this Pope, Francis, I really like him. And I don't really consider myself a Catholic. I call myself an uncovered Catholic as opposed to a recovered Catholic, because who wants to cover it up? Let's open up the windows, right? So as an uncovered Catholic, uncovering my head from those little doilies they make you wear when you were a little, back in the day when you had to wear a hat in church, so that there was a filter between you and divine. That's what the hat's about, right? And that's why the monks used to shave their head to so there would be nothing between them and God, right? And so um Francis is really a good guy. I really, really like him. And of course I like his politics because he's lefty. And he's really been fighting a very conservative um part, the conservative party there. And you think it's any different in the Vatican? And he wants to walk in the footsteps of Jesus instead of the shadow of Jesus. And and he just had a colon thing, I think. So I think we need to send light to Francis, if you're so inclined. But and I bring him up because this is the synod. This was the seed, and we have the fruition of the seed. And this is happening at 27 degrees of Virgo with Mars. Um, Mars and Virgo are at 27 degrees of Pisces. Now at the opposition, Pisces is in the same place. So we still have that energy being held by Pisces, and we have Mars on the other side. And this is sort of the fruition. This is Mars comes out as the baby coming out of the mother, and now the baby has to grow up and go through the world. And that's the next year of the cycle as Mars sort of disseminates the wisdom and what has been birthed at this time. And that's the 27th degree of Virgo. A group of aristocratic ladies meet ceremonially at a court's function. The ability to carry on a revered tradition in order to perpetuate cultural standards of excellence. Hold on a second. Mars, Neptune. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I made a mistake with the day. The initial day, I didn't read it right. Sorry. The initial day, the initial seed was the religious organization that I said, but it's 25 of Pisces. Now the opposition comes out at 27. So actually Neptune has moved on to another degree. And now we have the opposition of Mars. So Mars is in Virgo. This is the group of the aristocratic ladies meeting, opposing 27 degrees of Pisces. The harvest moon illumines a clear autumn sky, the light of fulfillment that blesses work well done. It's interesting that it's women, right? There's women, and then there's this harvest moon of work well done. It sounds like Funny Willis, strangely, right? Or Chunkin, or just women, or E. Jean Carroll, or we've been sort of working under the yoke. And of course, there's the Barbie movie, right? And the Rise of Inanna. If anyone hasn't watched Chris Brennan and Dimitri George's video on the Barbie movie and the story of descent and ascent of Inanna, go see it. It's amazing. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. Little technical if you're not an astrologer, but there's a lot of really good information in that. And especially if you're, into astrology, you definitely want to check. You should always check them out anyway. Both Dimitri George is like phenomenal. Anything she's ever written, I've loved. And Chris Brennan is really, he's really helpful. Really, really puts a lot of information out there, and I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to him. So we have something coming to fruition. Work well done. Then we have the sun ingress into Virgo. The first degree of Virgo is in a portrait. The significant features of a man's head are artistically emphasized. The capacity to picture to oneself clearly the salient features and overall meaning of any life situation. Discrimination and discernment are two Virgo qualities that we must that we must work with at this time. The ruler of Virgo is Mercury, right? And Mercury is stationed. It hasn't quite gone retrograde yet. It's barely moving air. Is at 22 degrees of Virgo. A royal coat of arms enriched with precious stones. The key word here is nobility. And nobility in its truest sense, the noble one, right? The noble one. I see Jack Smith as very noble. I think he's a very noble man. I think he has a real sense of right and wrong. And I think he wants to see justice done to the bullies. All right. So, now it says Leo here, but this is really the first degree of Virgo. If we went another second, we'd be into Virgo. So we'll just assume that's Virgo here. We have it opposing Saturn. Now it's going to be a couple of days. Next week, I think it opposes Saturn as it moves forward through Virgo. And here's Mercury, and we see that it's stationed. Mercury is trine Uranus. And so that there's a flow of energy, there's an opportunity for change, changing mind, right? This is like brilliant, like light breaks on marble head, brilliant stuff coming up. Okay, this is going a little longer than I expected, so apologies in case that's an issue for you. Mercury stationing retrograde at 22 of Virgo. Let's look at that degree. Okay, let's look at that more closely. A royal coat of arms enriched with precious stones. This is from Sabian Symbol, book on Sabian Symbols by Dane Rudger. A royal coat of arms enriched with precious stones. The certification of aristocratic status at whatever level nobility, in quotes, expresses itself in cultural eminence. Once more, a reference to ancestral achievements occurs among these symbols for the sign of Virgo. It is seen here in its most exalted character, for royalty is spoken of. Traditionally, the king is the spiritual symbol of unity and an integrated nation. As a coat of arms is visualized, we are dealing with a status that is not merely personally acquired, but has its roots in a noble past or notable past. Every great adept has come out of the line of human beings who have made their marks upon human evolution. Spiritual attainment is the result of a series of long repeated efforts. It is the end of a royal road, Raja Yoga, and in the broadest sense in the term, Raja meaning king. The royal road. The coat of arms represents the collective status of spiritual office. Whoever wears it assumes the responsibility of an office. As the French say, nobile oblige. Sorry about that. Oblige. Sorry. I don't speak French, pretty obvious, I know. Nobility confers upon an exacting responsibility. The question implied in the symbol is, are you willing, able, and ready to assume a royal office at whatever level it may be? Are you ready to assume the responsibility to shine your light and be you? And Mercury's retrograde, so we're going to have time to think about it. Maybe perhaps by the time it comes back to this degree, when it moves out of its shadow, you'll know. You'll know. And you'll have been preparing yourself for it. The interesting thing about this is that here we have the sun here in Virgo, right? We have Mercury in Virgo. We have Mars in Virgo. That's the triple Virgo play here on this side of the tree of life. This path is the path of cosmic justice. This path is the path of the devil. And this path here is the path of the hanged man. There are things that we have control over, and there are things that we don't. We can only lend ourselves to what we can do, knowing that this is a time when we may have to look at things in a little bit different perspective. We have to remember too through all this that Pluto is still square the nodes. Look at that nice square, nice and tight still, nice and tight. Yep. So we're under this pressure, this evolutionary pressure to evolve. And in order to do that, we have to renegotiate our contracts. We have to renegotiate our contracts. So, all right. That's it. So next week, quickly, just to go over the highlights, and then we'll talk about it next week. The 27th, we have the Sun opposing Saturn. That's a reality check, folks. That's a reality check. We have Mars ingress into Libra. Mars doesn't love being in Libra, but maybe we need some Mars in Libra. Considered action. How about that? The action of law in action. On the 28th, Uranus stations at 24 degrees of Taurus. Uranus station. When those transpersonal planets change direction, things happen, especially when it's Uranus or Pluto. Neptune sometimes is subtler, but not always. Subtler? Sorry. So we can, and Uranus is about like pushing the envelope. And as it goes retrograde, we move away from the envelope a little bit, from the edge of the envelope, and we sort of back away a little bit. So those people who have been pushing to disrupt, there's less energy for that now as it backs up. And so we're rethinking perhaps some of the disruption as people. Like, do we really want to be in that camp? Do we really want to go in that direction? What do we really want to do? Decisions are being made, and it's going to take discernment, which is good because Sun and Mercury, even though it is retrograde, is in Virgo, and Mars. Well, no, Mars won't be in Virgo anymore, but okay. And then we end the month with a full moon, because why not? We started with a full moon. That was Indictment Day from Jack Smith, and now we're going to end with the moon. We'll see what that is. Aish, bibbles. It's going to be a crazy, continue to be a crazy month, but I'm glad to share it with you guys. All right, let me get out of here. Hi. I kept you longer than I should have, so I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly did. So we'll look and we'll see what happens next week, but we'll see how, we'll see what comes up. I mean, I'm saying what I think it's going to be, but it could be something else, right? But at least we understand a little bit of the energy, and that things are coming to fruition now, and it's just it's a time of great shifting and changing, but we're being given, we have the agency to make it what we want it to be, right? So let's take it. Let's take the agency that we have. All right. Have yourself a wonderful week. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Share this if you like. I mean, I think this information is pretty cool. I'm convinced that what I say is pretty cool. So there may be, somebody who could benefit from this, especially if they're wondering, why me? Why now? What's going on? Oh my God. Is there hope? Of course there's hope. Of course there's hope. And I do have a Patreon page. You can, in fact, my Patreon people see this first. So hi, everybody. And I also, if you want a reading, I do astrology, Kabbalah, numerology readings. It's a combination reading. If you haven't experienced one of those, you can check out my In the News segment on Fonnie Willis or Tanya Chutkin, or I've done In the News on so many people. So you can just go to my channel and just put in the news, and it'll come up which ones were in the news. I think you can do that. You might have to put my name. I don't really know how it works, but there's a lot of information on this channel. Perhaps I need to organize it a little better so you can find it better, easier. But it's on there. So if you look, you'll find it. And I've done presidential candidates back a couple of years ago. I've done people in the news. I think I even did Tucker Carlson. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm sure it's very interesting. I don't find him interesting, but evaluating anybody's chart is always interesting. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a wonderful week. Be careful out there and shine your light. Namaste.